Hi, I'm Footy. I'm 10 years old, and today I'm going to show you how to replace the Ford Territory's driver's window motor in under 20 minutes. So, let's begin. The first step is to remove all of the screw covers from the door trim. There's one cover on the door handle, and there are 4 covers on the bottom of the door trim. We used a drill driver to remove the screws, which made it a quick and easy process. There are 8 torque screws in total. To access the final 2 screws, we need to remove the door handle cover from its bottom. The bottom screw needs an extension because it's very deep inside the door handle. Let's try wiggle this off. Actually, nope, never mind. Just leave it there. Now we can start removing the door trim from the bottom. Before we completely remove the door trim, we need to remove the door handle. To remove the door handle, we need to release the cable at the back. Then guide the door trim upwards. First, we need to detach the electric mirror wiring loom. It's a little bit tricky. I suggest you use a screwdriver. This little loom is for the door light. This is the main wiring loom that controls the electric windows. It has a release tab at the bottom that you need to press. There's nothing else that needs to be removed from the door. It's now time to get into replacing the motor. There are 3 screws that are holding the motor. There are 2 at the top and 1 at the bottom. Firstly, we remove the wiring loom. You will require a short stubby Phillips screwdriver. Next, we need to disassemble the new motor by removing the 3 screws. You need to wiggle the motor free. With our stubby screwdriver, we will now remove the 3 screws from the car. This part's tricky and fiddly. Let's speed this up. To not drop the final screw, we're going to keep pressure on it and wiggle the motor free. We probably should have done this before, but before you remove the old motor, test the new motor so you know that it works. Just a reminder, do not buy cheap switches off eBay because they do not work. We had to temporarily attach the original switch to test the motor. And here it is working. The old screws were a bit frayed, so we had to use the new screws. Try not to damage your screws. Guide the harder screw in first and wiggle the motor into place at the same time. Make sure it is firmly seated. Make sure the screws are nice and tight. Finally, you can attach the wiring loom. One final test before we reassemble the door trim. Sweet. Make sure the insulation is sitting in its place. Next, we reattach the light and window wiring loom. After this, we attach the electric mirror wiring loom. Give it a test before we screw everything into place. Pass the locking mechanism through the door trim. Push the door trim towards the window and give it a few taps. Tap to seat the clips at the bottom of the door trim. Don't forget to lower your torque settings. Reattach the door cable and clip it back into position. Sometimes the covers don't sit firmly into place, so swap them around. or you could try reshaping them. Try to keep the flat piece at the bottom. Finally, we can attach the door handle cover. The top locks in first, followed by the sides and the bottom. We had to silicone this screw cover because one of the tabs broke off. Piece of cake.